Thank you all for coming, and I hope some of that intellectual garbage that was discussed can be converted by flash joule heating at 3,200 Kelvin to perfect ribbons of turbostratic graphene. Which also I was told removing, as I left the podium yesterday, can also produce graphene Faraday cages that can defend crucial sensitive points from electromagnetic pulse. So any case, this has been a fabulous conference full of ideas, and I hope we can go out into the world and propagate them and invest in them, and you can continue to read about them in my newsletter, which is on sale back of the room. Rose and have the appropriate information. Anyway, but this is the end of another COSM, and Carver Mead has been part of every COSM I've done since the 1990s, early 1990s, and in 1980s he taught me the cosmic vision, and Carver will have a final word for us today.
Thanks, George. Just one comment on the last panel, which was an excellent panel on a very important issue of energy. I have found that when you say things a certain way to people who are not intimately into the subject of energy, some way of saying the truth are much more powerful than others. So let me give you one example. When people ask me about the new sources of energy, I talk about the new, which aren't new actually, the safer and more advanced forms of nuclear energy. And they always ask me, what's the fuel? And I tell them the fuel is nuclear waste. That always stops people, and they say, wow, that's great. So I would urge you, when you have a discussion with people about nuclear, and they ask you what the fuel is, just tell them it's nuclear waste, because that's true. Now, I want to go back to AI because that's what the conference was centered on. And let's just look from the top down a little bit. AI is not traditional AI like some people at this conference have said. AI grew out of a discipline of looking at neural networks in biological living creatures and seeing if we could find there computational principles that we could duplicate with human technology, human-built machine technology, to do more effective computation. So it's really neural networks, not traditional artificial intelligence. And it started in its present form in the early 1980s. 1985 was the invention of backpropagation, which is the fundamental principle that all these neural networks work on. And that, since the 1985s, has kind of struggled along with little bits here and there, until one individual in 2009 or so talked his advisor into getting a couple of the leading edge graphics accelerators and learned how to program them in bit-by-bit machine code over a couple of years, and absolutely blew away the international competition of trying to classify images. That single person, Alex Krzyzewski, one of Jeff Hinton's students, has changed the slope of energy use for computation by a large factor, which you've seen in all of the plots. The generative networks were also invented by a single individual, not by big companies, not by government-supported efforts. Single individuals with access to often a minimum of resources have changed the direction of history in step functions. And you heard yesterday about how these progress charts that look so smooth are actually composed of step functions at intervals, and then smooth progress from that. And the step functions, as George says, they're the place where the information is. It's the surprise that everyone talked about yesterday. What was the surprise? The surprise that we had perfectly ordinary backpropagation neural network that one student who learned how to program in the machine language of this absolutely obscure, difficult graphics programming unit was able to change the course of history. I want to amplify what Schellenberger said today. Anytime you have disinformation, you have government censorship, you have government control, you have government funding with the attendant multiplicity of strings, it doesn't speed things up. It not only slows them down, it often prevents things happening in the free world and allows people in the non-free world to get a big advantage. This is not where we want to go. We want to be a society that is open to single individuals with an insight that everybody thinks is crazy, which changes the direction of the world and makes it a better place. Bless you.